Welcome to IELTS Academy 9. I'm Yusr, and in today's video I'll give you 30 essential phrases and expressions that you must use in your answers in the IELTS speaking test to impress your examiner. So watch the video till the end as you will learn how to use them through answers to common IELTS questions. And now, let's get started. Beginning your speech means introducing your idea. So if you're asked such a question, what kinds of music do you like the most? Here you cannot start with I like blah blah blah. No, you have to introduce your idea with an expression such as that's an interesting question. Such an expression gives you time to organize your ideas and at the same time shows how advanced your level is. So now let's see how we use it. That's an interesting question because I'm a fan of music, especially the 90s. I prefer it as it's quite nostalgic, which makes me recall many memories. I'm also a fan of pop music, such as Britney Spears songs that were hits back then. You can also use this phrase, first of all. First of all, I'm fond of different kinds of music, especially the classical music. Although I'm a 90s baby, I prefer to listen to Frank Sinatra's songs as they are melodious and warm. Pop and rock are not my cup of tea as I don't like fast beat music. Another phrase that you can use is to begin with. To begin with, listening to music has always been my favorite activity. I'm keen on listening to different types of music. However, my favorite is the classical music as I play the piano and I find it melodious and easy to play. I also recommend that you pause after each slide to read the answers again to check the use of vocabulary and idioms, which will help you in your practice as well. The second type of expressions are used for restating. Restating means explaining what you mean. Have you ever done something to help the environment? You can answer this question using this phrase, in other words. Let's see how. Well, I believe that small actions count. In other words, I plant some green leaves in my balcony, such as mint and lemon. Besides, I always carry my trash with me to any public garbage as I'm completely against littering. As you can see here, I started my answer with, I believe that small actions count. Then I'm going to explain what I mean by this idea using in other words. You can also use this phrase to put it another way. Well, I believe that everyone should do something to help the environment. To put it another way, I prefer to carpool with my friends instead of using my own car. Moreover, I prefer to ride my bike or walk when transportation isn't needed. This small action, if done by many, will reduce car fumes and gas emissions. The third type of expressions here is used to introduce your personal experience. Personal experience means something that happened to you before or something that you have experienced. Let's answer this question. How has the science you studied helped you? You can use this phrase, in my experience. Let's see how. In my experience, the study of biology helped me identify my body and understand the functions of different body parts. Furthermore, physics made me understand the laws of the universe. Another phrase, back when I was. Back when I was in school, I thought science was a hard nut to crack. Hard nut to crack means was difficult to understand. Yet, the study of biology helped me identify my body and understand the functions of different body parts. Math also helped me make my monthly budget easily. I remember when. I remember when I first studied science, I couldn't grasp it. However, the study of biology helped me identify my body and understand the functions of different body parts. The fourth type here is introducing personal opinion. How to express your opinion. Let's answer this question. Do you prefer public transport or private transport? Let's start with this phrase, to be honest. To be honest, I prefer public transport for many reasons. First, it's affordable as a bus ticket is much more inexpensive than a taxi fare. Second, it produces less gas emissions as it carries many people in one vehicle, which is more environmentally friendly. You can also use this phrase, as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, public transport is not my cup of tea, means it's not my favorite. I prefer private transport as I can enjoy the quietness and privacy being alone in a vehicle. Another reason is safety. I believe it's safer to drive your car or ride your bike as you won't be exposed to thefts or harassment. You can also use this phrase, as I see it. As I see it, public transport is affordable as a bus ticket is much more inexpensive than a taxi fare. Moreover, it's less exhausting as you don't need to drive, especially after a long, hectic day. We still have more phrases under introducing personal opinion, but let's answer a different question. Do people in your country like to go to the cinema to watch a film? In my view, families in my country prefer to watch movies at home, especially if they have kids. On the other hand, teenagers and couples enjoy going to the cinema as a way to hang out. So I'd say yes as far as teens and couples are concerned. In my opinion, going to the cinema is fun. That's why many people in my country find it an interesting activity where they hang out for a movie, while others find it a popular date option. Personally, going to the cinema has been the most popular activity for many people. In my country, especially on the weekends, many parents like to take their kids to watch 3D animated movies. Single adults are also huge fans of the cinema, where they can hang out to watch the newest movies. Expressing certainty means expressing something that you're sure of. How can we show certainty in our answers? Let's answer this question. Why do you think some people invest their money in buying houses? You can use this phrase, I'm certain that, means I'm sure that. Well, people have different reasons to buy a property, but I'm certain that the most important is privacy. When buying a house, you feel independent and free to refurbish your own place. Moreover, you can enjoy the quiet life as you don't have to worry about noisy or annoying neighbors. You can also use this phrase, I'm convinced that. I believe that people have different reasons to buy a property, and I'm convinced that the most important is security. I mean that with having your own house, you don't need to think about paying a monthly rent. Furthermore, it's an asset that if you think about selling it one day, you will have your money back. You can also use this phrase, I'm sure that. To be honest, people have different reasons to buy a property, but I'm sure that the most important is pride. In other words, ownership creates a feeling of pride that many would like to brag about what they possess. Speculating or expressing uncertainty when you are not sure about something. Let's answer this question. Do people wear formal clothes more often or less often than the past? You can use this phrase, it's possible. It's possible that casual attire is becoming more popular due to the fast pace of life where people have no time to get dressed in formal suits every day. However, when it comes to work, still many companies don't accept casual outfits. You can also use I'd say. Well, I'd say yes, as casual clothes are more convenient and flexible for hectic days. Nowadays, you can wear jeans and t-shirts to weddings, whereas formal clothes are worn for work or other formal events such as meetings. Another phrase that you can use is I suppose, which means I think. I suppose that formal clothes are worn less than the past, and you can see this in old footage where ladies and gentlemen used to wear formal suits and dresses in almost every occasion, while nowadays we wear casual outfits more. There are more phrases under expressing uncertainty, but with a different question. Would you like to travel to space? I assume. I assume means I suppose or I think. I assume that traveling to space is incredible. I think it would be fascinating to see a completely foreign galaxy. Besides, I'm curious to know if aliens exist. Perhaps, which means maybe or might. Perhaps. I don't know how it feels like to be in a rocket, yet I might go on this trip. I think it's amazing to step on the moon and see this colossal universe from above. I've always seen space in movies, so imagine how fantastic to see it firsthand. Now let's move to expressing agreement when you agree with the idea. Is it important to have some time alone? You can use this phrase, I totally agree. I totally agree, as I believe that everyone needs to have some time alone for self-reflection. I mean, we are surrounded by many distractions, and spending time alone helps us to focus more on ourselves. You can also say, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Actually, everyone needs to have some time alone for self-reflection. To put it another way, every now and then we should separate ourselves from distractions to reflect on our life and regain some of our mental stability that we lose day by day. You can also use this expression, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Actually, everyone needs to have some time alone for self-reflection. This helps us to be more focused and have a clear vision of our next steps. You can also use this expression, definitely. Definitely, everyone needs to have some time alone for self-reflection. I mean, we are surrounded by many distractions, and spending time alone helps us focus more on ourselves. Expressing disagreement when you don't like the idea or you don't believe in this idea. Do you think that children shouldn't wear school uniforms? We can say, I'm afraid I disagree. I'm afraid I disagree, as I believe it's vital for school children to wear uniforms. If students are given the freedom to wear whatever they want, there won't be discipline. In other words, rich students will wear luxurious stuff, while poor students will feel embarrassed and humiliated, which will have a negative impact on their performance. Another expression, that's not always true. That's not always true. I believe it's necessary for school children to wear uniforms. The most convincing reason is that students are either kids or teens, and they might wear inappropriate outfits, whereas a school is an educational institution that must have discipline. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Actually, children should wear unified outfits in their schools that shows how equal they are inside their school. Another reason is that schools look well organized when you see children in their school outfits in the schoolyard line up to enter their classes. And this is the last type of the expressions here. I believe they are very important to use, and I think the answers are clear and the use of these expressions and phrases are very clear. Just watch the video, then try to practice and insert some of them in your answers, and you will improve your speaking. And that's all for this video. I hope you find it useful. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to watch all my new videos.